What is up, fellow Sambarians, fellow Bravo Bros, fellow Actitos, uh, shoot, fellow K-pops? This is a Joypop, K, Joypop, K-pop, get it? Oh, and can't forget Bravo Bros. What's up, guys? So I thought I would try to make a video today going over some brand differences in K vans. So, here today with me is my Mitsubishi Bravo GT Turbo. This is a Suzuki Joypop. It's not mine, it's a customer's I'm working on. It is for sale. My Subaru Sambar Green Diaz. My Mitsubishi Bravo Route 66 edition. And of course, my beloved Honda Acty Fire Van from Japan. I love you, baby. So, I'm sure all of you have figured out by now that I'm a huge sandbar guy. Nothing beats a sandbar. So, everything I'm going to be talking about today will kind of be with an open mind. Let's say you're new to the K scene and you want to pick up a K van in Japan. Maybe you don't want a truck, maybe you want a van. I'm going to go over some differences in the vans. I do not have a Daihatsu here with me. Um, I don't think I've worked on a Daihatsu van yet, which would be in a Tri, I believe. I don't know, not well knowledged on the Daihatsus too much. I have a Daihatsu Midget, and I've worked on Daihatsu Hi-Jets, but no Daihatsu vans yet. But again, they're all pretty much the same engine, just a different look. So let's say you're new to the K stuff and you're wanting to import something and you just don't know what you want, but you're pretty dead set on getting a K van. Maybe this will help you out. So I'm going to start introducing them in the order in which I like them most. Again, this is my opinion, so I'm going to be stating facts about the cars. I'm going to have a pretty open mind to all of them because obviously I own 3 of the 4 here. No, 5. My goodness, I can't even count. I own 4 of the 5 here. So obviously I have an open mind when it comes to K cars. I just have my favorite. So yeah, so we're going to start with my favorite and then we'll work down the line. So this is a Subaru Sambar Diaz. The Subaru Sambar Diaz came with a carbureted engine. It came with a non-aspirated fuel injected engine, and it also came with a supercharged engine, which I believe would be the Diaz 2 or the Maliza, the Tri. The Tri might even be supercharged. This one is my favorite, of course, and I'll tell you why. The Subarus are extremely easy to work on. If you are going to be working on your own car, the sandbars in general are usually the easiest to work on because the engine is in the back. It doesn't get much easier than that. I'll show a behind in a second here, but you don't. It doesn't get much easier than the engine being in the back. From a mechanical standpoint, someone who has to work on these, someone who owns one and wants to work on it. Now, of course, if you're not going to be working on your own car and you're going to be handing it off to somebody else to be working on, any of these other vans are a great option. My next in line would definitely be the Honda Acty, and then, well, actually, it would be between the Honda Acty and the Mitsubishi. Honda didn't get very cool with their Acties. They're all non-aspirated. They're either carbureted or they're fuel injected. They do have some fuel injected Acty van. They were usually the street edition was fuel injected. That one, my fire van, is carbureted, but they're all non-aspirated. But Mitsubishi, Subaru, I think Suzuki may have. I'm not very well versed on the Suzukis. All I know is the F6A T motor is the one to have because it's turbocharged, timing chain, no timing belt. It's a pretty good engine. But this Mitsubishi Bravo here, my GT Turbo, is turbocharged, obviously. So that one between the Acty and the Bravo, it's close. But from a working on standpoint, this one sucks because it's up underneath the seat and it's really hard. I should say it's not as easy to do stuff as it would be on the Honda Acty or the Subaru Sambar or even the Suzuki. I mean, changing spark plugs on this thing, on the turbo version anyways, was a headache in itself. You have to remove turbo hoses to get to the coil packs and stuff like that. I'm sure if you're small and got little nimbly fingers, you could probably do it without a lot of removing stuff, but for me, it made it easier if I removed turbo hoses to be able to get underneath and then change spark plugs. But again, Subaru was the easiest. But with that being said, they're all the same size engines. They're all 660cc engines. It's just that some were turbocharged and some were supercharged. Sambars were always supercharged. Mitsubishis on their line of turbocharged or their aspirated cars were turboed and Subarus were supercharged. So then I guess my next in line would probably be, if we're going off of like speed, I guess, it would be the Mitsubishi because it's turboed. But if we're going off of capabilities to work on it, the Honda Acty is much easier to work on than the Mitsubishis because the engine is kind of in the back, while the Sambar is all the way in the back. The Honda was kind of like right above, right in front of the rear axle. So it's not fully back there, but it's back there and it's a little more accessible to get to stuff. I mean, doing a timing belt change on a Sambar is much easier than doing it on a Honda Acty. You got to remove motor mount and lower the engine, while the Sambar, you don't really have to do anything other than remove the shock. I mean, I've seen guys do it without removing the shock, but it just makes it easier if remove the shock to do the timing belt. But the Sambar is just, in my opinion, just a breeze to work on. I guess if you're watching this and you're hearing me ramble about which one's going to be the best option for you, obviously I'm going to say the Sambar is going to be the best option. But let's just say, you're not a Subaru person, and you're not really going to work on it, I would say your Mitsubishi or Honda Acty, and even the Suzuki is going to be next in line. So this difference between the Suzuki Joypop and the Suzuki truck, the Suzuki Scary or the Carry, the engine on the Carry is up underneath the front seat. The Suzuki Joypop, the engine's in the back. And it's like pretty much almost, actually it's a little bit farther back on the Suzuki than it is the Honda, but it is almost the same setup. It's kind of funny. It's like they kind of just copied the Honda but pushed it back just a little bit farther. I think next in line to the Subaru would be the Honda, then Suzuki, and then the Mitsubishis if you're going to be working on them, because the Mitsubishis are going to suck to work on. And I'll show you why in a couple seconds here. Let's talk about ride style. So being that I've driven all of these, except for I really haven't driven this one, again, because it's a customer's. I've only driven it back and forth on my property here. The Sambar has very good weight displacement. The engine's in the back and you're up in the front. So you got good weight all around. I have noticed that my Mitsubishi that is two-wheel drive will get stuck on the slightest slope of wet grass because the engine's up underneath the front seat and the back tires will just spin like crazy, being that it is two-wheel drive. So I'm okay driving it back here today because the grass is pretty dry. But if it was wet, it would 99% chance of it getting stuck right there, even on the slightest slope. It's just no fun. My Bravo Route 66 is four-wheel drive. It's all-time four-wheel drive, so it's got 4 high and 4 low. That one's okay. I can take that one anywhere. The Honda Acty, that one is two-wheel drive, but the engine is still in the back. So you have a little more weight on the axle. And the truck is even worse because if the engine's in the front and you have a truck bed, which these are vans, so they have obviously a lot of body weight in the back, they still get stuck. But the trucks are even worse because it's just a truck bed. The truck beds are super light. So, I mean, there's a Mitsubishi mini cab I'm working on here. That's a customer's. If I put it, it's an automatic. So if I put it in drive and just barely let off the gas, let off the brake, back tires want to just burn out because it's just, there's no traction. So I feel like drivability wise, having the engine in the back is a lot better when it comes to displacement and the weight. I mean, if it's a truck and you're constantly loading up the truck with weight, that's good. But for me, I'm not really using it as a work vehicle. I mean, the most I'm putting in the back of those beds is, some 2x4s or some fence posts or something to build a chicken coop. So there's not really ever weight in the back of the truck. So having an engine in the front seat and no weight in the back just sounds like a terrible idea to me. I mean, even that van, when it's wet outside, that thing just wants to burn out everywhere. And it's a manual, so obviously you feather the clutch out. But if you just dump that clutch, that thing is just going to want to burn out, especially being turbocharged. That thing just wants to go. It's a drift van, essentially. So there's just no weight in the back. So I feel like the Suzuki, the Subaru, and the Honda are just had it figured out with weight displacement as far as the vans go. Suzuki truck has the engine up underneath the front, which again, if it's not four-wheel drive, it is just you're gonna be spinning tires all the time if you're off the road at all, in my opinion. So if you were getting a truck, I feel like, and what you were going to be using it for, then the engine placement being underneath the front might be beneficial for whatever you're doing. So with that being said, I feel like the Subaru feels a lot easier, a lot better to drive because the engine's in the back. Weight displacement's good. It's not really squirrely. The Mitsubishis, they're not really squirrely as far as the van goes, because it's got a lot of body weight in the back. I haven't really driven a Mitsubishi mini cab truck at all, so I can't really tell you how those drive, but we're just going to focus on vans in this video. And I really like my Honda Acty. It's two-wheel drive, but I think I already said motor's in the back, so it does okay for the most part. Gets good traction. Let's talk about some stuff on what the interiors look like. So I'll bring you here with me. So let's first start with the Mitsubishi Bravo. We'll just go down the line. Back handle's broken. So all vans, no matter what brand, all the seats in the back essentially are the same concept. They all have like this stand. The Sambar is a little bit different though. In the Sambar, this will actually fold up. So then you have it gives you access to the back. That's what it is. There's a hatch right here and it gives you access to work on some part of the engine in the front of the Sambar. But all the seats fold down. So, this, and then that will fold down. So you get like all flat in the back, essentially. This is the Mitsubishi. But it seats pretty comfortably in the back if you want to. My word. If you want to put people back here. The vans on the Mitsubishis, since the engine is up underneath the front, if you pull this carpet back right here, there is a little secret hatch. Let's see where you can see part of what is that, a bug? Oh no, it's tape. You can see part of this hatch right there. So that'll give you access to the part of the engine, like where you're at with your distributor, usually. Not distributor. Yeah, your distributor, so cap, rotor, and all that stuff will give you access. Because the engines on these guys are underneath your front seat. So this is why, you know, if I was judging from a mechanical standpoint, I don't like these ones. And we'll just put it into perspective right now. I had to do a head gasket job on a Mitsubishi mini cab. And to do that, you have to take the center column out. So, you know, disconnecting shifting linkages and e-brake and pulling all this stuff. And yes, it's easy. I've done it, you know, done it a few times on that truck. I could do it all in, you know, an hour or less than an hour, taking all that stuff out. But it looks very daunting. Looks like a daunting task when you're like, oh my gosh, how do I work on this engine? But once you remove that center console there, then it's just this big open slot to be able to work on your engine. So being that this one is fuel injected, you know, here's the throttle body, which typically your carburetor would be here on the carbureted versions, which is still in a crummy position. It's like just underneath this thing, so it's just kind of awkward to get to stuff. But being that this one's fuel injected, the air filter and turbo and all that stuff is on that side, while the carbureted versions, they're all right here. So it's just, again, just depends on which one you got. It's going to be slightly different than, you know, what you see here, or whatever. So we'll put these back. So this has the 4A30 engine, which is the turbocharged. This one's turbocharged. And here's like the front dash. So you got this thing red lines at 9,000 RPMs, which is crazy. It's like a little motorcycle. Very simple interior, but the GT turbo version had like these cool, like almost like bucket seats that really hug you. Super cool. I really like this one with all the pattern and stuff. Basically all K cars have their brake fluid reservoirs right here on the end. Yeah, so here's like the glass top. It was just stuck a little bit. That's why it's good to grease up the tracks and all that stuff and try to keep the motors happy. But so that is it fully open now. So pretty cool, opens up. But these tracks and stuff up here, it's kind of good to like keep them greased up. I think these were stuck and it probably has some kind of like pressure sensor. It just needed a little help to open up. Okay, so let's move on to the Suzuki. What the interior looks like on the Suzuki. Now this Joypop is probably a pretty basic model, so not a whole lot going on in here. This one is four-wheel drive, so it has the button on the shifter. That Bravo was two-wheel drive. So yeah, here's your Suzuki front Suzuki dash. This one has axle lock, four-wheel drive. Your basic little radio with the speaker right there. Because these do not have speakers. Interesting. So the Sambars and the Mitsubishis have like, I think they have, Mitsubishi has door speakers, and then the Sambars have, yeah, so those have door speakers. And the Subarus have like speakers up in the dash. This one doesn't have any speakers, so Suzuki, that one's pretty basic. But the engine, however, I don't want to fold up the, I don't really want to fold this thing up, but the engine is right here, just like the Honda Acty. Here's the edge of the lid. Let's just, there. So there's your engine. Pretty much like a Honda Acty. It's crazy how much these ones are similar to a Honda Acty. It's just backwards. So your oil dipstick on the Honda Acty is on the passenger side, and the oil dipstick on the Suzuki is on the driver's side. Right there. Pretty wild. This one's got little trailing arms, like 4-link or whatever. This thing's ready to go. So that is pretty basic Suzuki Joypop. This is a custom exhaust we did for the Bravo GT. Check that out. Yeah. So that one has 20 valves. So the mini cabs usually have the 3G83 motor, which is only a 12 valve. Sorry, 4 times 3, yeah, 12 valve. So this one is 20 valves, so that's crazy. Being a 4-cylinder, that's a lot of little tiny valves. Now here is the Subaru. Now this one's also another reason why it's my favorite. The engine's in the back, so you can do all this fun stuff to the engine and you can see it. Can't do that with the Honda Acty. You can't do that with the Suzuki Joypop or Bravo or whatever. You can't really see that stuff. So modifying a Sambar is, obviously my favorite thing to do. And you can see it all. So there's the engine. Makes it very easy to work on. Let's check out the interior. So, like I was saying, speakers are up in the dash. I have my miles per hour gauge face, and then you can put a tack in, and this has an aftermarket steering wheel, and you got your radio, and you can do a double din. On the Subarus, you can't do a double din. On the Honda, there's not a double din slot, so that's kind of cool. You can get a full double dinner in there, cup holder, which is fun. This one has a rear heater in it, which is cool, so if you have passengers, you can cook them. But again, same concept with the back seats. They will fold down. So they will fold down, and then you can take the headrest off, and that will flip down even more. Let's just do it. So now it folds down even more, which is completely flat. So now you have like a bed essentially back there. And then my Subaru has factory rear speakers in the van, which is fun, and this tonneau cover, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of fun in the vans, because if you do need the room in the back, you always have that option of folding the seats down and getting room. So that's kind of what to expect. And if it was a glass top, obviously that would all be glass roof up there if you're lucky enough to get one. Let's go over to the Mitsubishi Bravo. So this is my Route 66, which is like an Americanized K-van, if you will. I put some Sparkos on it to match the Sparkos on that guy. So these are 15-inch Sparkos on 195 45 15s. And I actually lowered this fan, so the 15s fit pretty good being lowered. So again, Bravo. Back seats will fold down. Well, you gotta do this. Yeah, whatever. You can fold. Ooh, what's that? You're not supposed to see that. But yeah, so these all fold down, and you get a flatbed back here as well in your Bravi. I like this one because it's got the wood grain. This one has all the wood grain stuff on the dash, so it's kind of fun. And I got a matching steering wheel to kind of match the wood grain. But again, engine up underneath the front seat here, same as the first Bravo. It's just going to be real fun to work on if I've ever really got to dive into the engine, take out the center column, take out the seats. And obviously working on an engine inside of the cab can be kind of tricky, especially if you have clean carpet. You want to try to just, be really careful not to get grease on everything. So this is the Bravo. And all the Bravos are going to be pretty much the same interior. Obviously, you can see the seats are different in this one than the GT, because that GT was a little more racy. Now let's talk about the Honda Acty, which is another super popular. Okay, so this one's an automatic. They can, you know, it's rare to find an automatic, but they have them. So like I was saying, you can only get a single DIN radio in this one, but whatever, don't matter. This one does not have AC, unfortunately, but it was a fire service van, which is cool. There's the badge chilling there. But yeah, so I didn't really talk about this, but the Honda Street actually had power steering. So that was kind of cool. It seems super unnecessary, but it's actually really nice to have power steering on these little vans. Especially when you're not moving, you can just turn the steering wheel real quick. And then here's like a good representation of the seats folded down in the back, making it completely flat. And again, this was like a fire service van, so they always had these seats folded down anyways. So I just keep them folded down because they look brand new and I don't want to bring them up. But a great thing if you want to get a van and turn it into like some kind of coffee cart or something. This one had a rack. So you can, I don't want to pull it out right now because it's on a slant, probably kill me. But you can put a sliding rack back here. And I took it to a car meet and was selling like shift knobs, these cool up garage shift knobs and like these little grab handles and stuff. And I would just set it up on the rack and slid it out. But if you had like a coffee cart or something, this would be a really cool idea for your van, you know, to have stuff. Have like a rack you could slide out and sell stuff on and whatever. And this one I put a Giga N1 exhaust on it. That sounds pretty good. But again, this engine is underneath the rack. You can't see it, but it's underneath in the back. So like I was saying on the Suzuki, how the dipstick for the oil was on the the driver's side. The dipstick on this one, and you can't see it. There it is right there. It's on the opposite side of the Honda Acty, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so that's kind of what you're looking for in a van. And vans are just good because if you're a bigger fellow, you can obviously lean the seats way back. The truck, you'd be hitting the cab. So I'm kind of tight squeezing in a Honda Acty truck. I'm not very tall, but in the van, obviously, you have more than enough room just due to the fact you can slide your seat back and all that fun stuff. So those were some differences between the vans and the different brands. Thumbnail. The different brands of vans, your Mitsubishi Bravos, your Suzuki Joypop, your Subaru Sambar Diaz, your Bravo, and your Honda Acty. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff. If you really want to get deep into figuring out what's going to suit you best, join some Facebook groups. You know, there's Facebook groups of every brand, K-car that you can think of, and you can really just dive in and see more information that people are posting about their K-van or whatever. But you know, if you really just want to get something that's good and easy to work on, and you really like modifying, the Sambar is going to be your best bet. I'm a little biased because I love Sambars, but that and probably the Honda Acty. It's going to be easiest ones to work on as far as engine placement and even carburetor setups. Like the Suzuki's, not so much the Suzuki Carries and the Daihatsus and the Mitsubishis. The carburetor and the vacuum lines is just a nightmare. The Subarus, obviously that one's fuel injected, but the carbureted Sambar is not very complicated at all in my opinion, and I've worked on all of them, and I would say the easiest one to work on is either the Honda Acty one or the Subaru Sambar. Again, that's just my opinion, but there you go. Hopefully that was helpful, and if you have questions, you're more than welcome to post them down in the comments and I'll try to help you out. But these are kind of the differences between vans, and I'll try to do one on trucks here pretty soon so you can see the differences between different trucks. I have Sambar truck here, I got a Suzuki truck here. I don't have any Acty trucks here, so maybe the Acty truck one will have to wait. Or the truck one will have to wait, but yeah, these are all the different vans. Now I gotta go park all these things back up front again. It's a lot of work. But yeah, post questions in the comments. If I can answer, someone else can answer, you know, try to get some questions answered. If you're trying to pick a K van in Japan and you need help, as far as, you know, parts and stuff like that goes, okgarage.com. I got quite a few parts available as of now, mostly Subaru and Acty, some Mitsubishi. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe if you'd like to. That'd mean a lot. Keeps me motivated to keep making these videos, even though it's really difficult to find time to do this stuff amongst working on all these things. But yeah, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. It would not be complete without the patitos. Hi, peepees. Let's go say hi to the patitos. Hi, patitos. What are you guys doing? Little Indy, what are you doing? Sunshine, what are you doing, patita? Snowman, Georgina, what you doing back there? Georgie, Big Indy, and then Sunshine's babies. They're no longer babies. They're like full-grown patitos now. What's up, guys? Hi, patita. You're pretty, patita. Look at that. Looking all pretty. Oh, here comes Georgina. Hi, Georgina. And I bet all you guys want to see the new patitos. Let's go see them. So, patita here. Oh, man. Minnie just poking out right there. It's always trying to get my attention. So Patita just had 14 little patitos. I think 3 of them are only hers and the rest might be the other patitas, but she was laying on them the whole time, so she thinks they're all hers. It's okay, Patita. Look at all these little guys. We got a khaki, we got some cayugas, maybe even black Swedish, some mallards. Look at all these little patitos. Oh man. 14. So crazy. So I'm building them a new coop so we can house all these wild animals at the zoo here. Then there's these guys. What's up, Robin? I need to change your water. It's only been like 2 days and it's already green. The heat. What are you doing, bud? Robin, little golden guy. Hi, Snowflake. Hi, bud. You gonna take a nap? All right. I'm out.